Today we're going to be looking at how I did the Space Mountain sign in plasticity. For those who don't know, I posted a Space Mountain animation scene. It's an hour-long loop with a really cool playlist of music. As you can see, there's more to this sign than what you see in that scene. It's actually quite detailed. These colors are really just for reference to change them. If you want to change them for fun and plasticity, you can. The first step was creating the logo here. So what I did was I found a picture of it. In fact, I might still have that picture saved under screenshots here. There it is. If I move that aside to the left, this is how I did it. I got the logo. I went to the top-down view. I used the line tool. I traced it. Okay, once I had each one traced, I was able to extrude it and turn it into a solid. I'm making this sound like it was super easy and simple and quick, but of course none of this is quick. It takes a lot of time and energy and effort, which that's what makes art special. The next thing that I did, once I had these letters cut out, was create the backing for them. As you can see, these are two separate layers. If I click on, let's get out of the line tool here. These are all separate letters, and this is a separate layer from the other solid here. So we have like sort of a backing to the sign. And this was all done off of photo references of the sign. So if I toggle this, I had a photo to reference here for the actual height of the sign. And this was the photo that I used to get a pretty realistic and accurate height for how tall this thing is. You want everything to be to scale, and that's one of the biggest challenges with art and 3D art. And especially when they're using things like forced perspective at theme parks. Some Disney magic there and movie magic. I'll turn that back off for now. There's a whole top to this thing which is not really shown in the scene, but I'm gonna keep making more scenes, and so I would expect to see this and more of them. This shape was a little difficult to create. As you can see, these are all separate shapes, but I ended up use the cut tool to cut this hole out. So if I were to copy this and paste it, and then I were to size it down, let's say to there, lift it up, then let's make it much longer, right? And I'm just going to demonstrate the cutting tool here for you in plasticity because it's so cool and useful. And let's say I want to cut this piece with this one. All I would have to do is go to cut, select the piece that you want to cut, and then we want to cut it with this, hit enter twice, and now we have that piece cut. I'll show you this again in the future when I do more plasticity tutorials. But again, that's just one of the ways to cut holes in things. With these, once you make one of them, you can copy and paste the other two. So I just had to make sure that I got one really good. And then I think I use like a radial array for these little circles here, these little rivets, we'll call them. For these poles here, I actually just needed to make one. Then I did a radial array to make the other two. So if I delete the other two, one of the best ways to do symmetry, I think the only way really for 3D modeling, is to use those radial arrays when you can. And let's make this the center, and of course we only need 3. Okay, we don't need 12. That's a different looking sign. Okay, and that gave me 3 of those. And very rarely would I be that close up to the sign. A lot of the scenes I'm making are more landscape, so we'll be further away. So, you know, what's cool is if I want to come back to this and I want to add more details in the future, I can, because I have the project file. And plasticity also syncs up with Blender really well. Total, I would say this sign took me about 2 days to create. I spent about 2 days on this. And then and that's just the hard modeling. Once I got it into Blender, then I had to add texture and add the emitters and play around with the lights with the logo. That's a quick behind the scenes look at how I did this sign in plasticity. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe and like and share, comments. I love talking about this stuff, so definitely leave a comment if you just want to chat or have any questions, and I'll see you next time.